This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
What's going on, WWT family? This is I, the Kingpin, King of the Streets, Suntan Superman, along with the man with the power, John Paws. And of course, the bearded god right there, Pierce Austin. I don't say those little, slang things. I only focus on me. Holy shit! Hold on a second. Now the store is open. Forgot about that. But welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Tragedy. Today we're doing part 2 of, case number 102, Scott Hall. We had to give him, more time because we got to give him the credit, man. We got to give this man the stage to so we could talk about him. But before we go any further, let's get these sponsors out the way so we could definitely talk about Scott Hall.
Absolutely. Take it away, Angel.
Welcome to another edition. But anyway, healthvape.com, one of the best products out there for anybody who wants a vaping alternative. It doesn't have no preservatives, no chemicals. It's definitely one of the best products out there. If you definitely want to focus on your health, look at Triple H, man, having heart issues. If you're having heart issues, and you want to get off that vape, Pierce, then definitely focus on healthvape.com. Gives you all the vitality, all the energy, all the boost, and it restores. So definitely check out healthvape.com. Use MWA promo code MWA pod for 10% off. And I skipped one word, nicotine. Definitely it doesn't have any of that. Next.
Yeah. And it is infused with vitamins as well. So make sure you check it out.
I forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely.
But also, Angel, another thing that you and John Pos really like is going and buying stuff off sleeves.com, where you can get all your athletic wear. Like you guys are both, guys that work out. So, you check out Sleeves. They've got everything that you need for your athletic wear. They've got arm sleeves. They've got, compression pants, compression tights, headbands, mouth guards, head guards, boots, and your favorite, guys, the dirty boxes, which have got funky designs. They stay fresh. They stay dry all day long. Check them out. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase.
Absolutely. So last case, we were just talking about Scott Hall, about his career, about his life, about the darkness that was going on. But right now, what we're going to be talking about, John, you said you wanted to kick it up to the next level in regards to his career. Well, yeah. I'll let you start it off.
Well, we were talking so much about like his career and his impact and stuff, but we kind of didn't get into too much of the negative stuff, I guess. But, he had, obviously, we talked about the murder and obviously it was self-defense, and it kind of carried with him throughout his career and in his life. But it's funny, every time you think like, okay, he may reach such a high level of success, he would never kind of forget about, I guess, that incident. And then he would just kind of get into maybe the somas or kind of get deeper into the alcohol. But it was almost like even a level of success, even the highest level, WWF, WCW being the game changer, it never changed his kind of mental state of maybe thinking about that issue, but never was like, I'm going to get clean and get sober until way later with Diamond Dallas Page. So it's like during his career, that was never really a thought. Even though he had kids and maybe he tried a few times, but he never really got clean and sober during his career. You always heard demons. You always heard he was in trouble. You always heard like suspensions or, whatever, fines or whatever. You always heard him getting in trouble during his career, even though he was at the height, at the pinnacle of wrestling.
Well, just curiosity. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pierce.
Sorry. No, Angel, you go.
I was just going to ask, do you think that affected his rise into the world championship title in WWE? That's why he was stuck in the Now I'm saying that's a bad title. I was just saying, but he didn't further his career because he was a hell of an athlete. So I didn't know why he didn't get an opportunity to hold the strap of the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, because think about it. Like, okay, Shawn Michaels is the champion. Is he that much not as good as Michaels? He was bigger, had a better look, just as good of a promo. You know what I mean? I know Michaels is a great athlete, a great wrestler, but it's like, is Michaels so much better than him? Then WrestleMania 10 and SummerSlam 95 showed you Rager can keep up and work with Michaels, and they can have great matches no matter what. So it's like, okay, why isn't he the champ? Like, is Diesel that much better than Razor Ramon? He's not the, it's like, it's weird. I know that what they were going for the big guy, and they don't do the steroid guys anymore. So you got Yokozuna and Diesel and the big monsters are the champions, but it's like, wow, Razor's better than Diesel. Why wasn't he the champion? It's weird. You always kind of wondered that.
But don't you think that during the ladder match, that when he won the ladder match, it's almost like we're watching a horse race where they both was at the finish line, but when he won by a nose, that gave him the equality to say, man, he's an equal because he beat Shawn Michaels. Absolutely. So that's why I was thinking when Shawn Michaels was champion, why he was not able to, wrestle him for the title because they say you could show that he still had a chance. Not a chance, you know what I mean? Like, man, this Razor, he could beat
Well,
Shawn
when
Michaels. He
Michaels
beat
was
him before.
champion, Razor was just right about on his way out. I know he had that match with Diesel at Good Friends, Better Enemies in your house, but he was kind of right on his way out. I wonder if that would have been in the works, because that would have been the perfect feud. Like, hey, this guy beat you at WrestleMania 10, or you guys had a great feud and all this other stuff. I wonder if that was kind of going to be set up for him. But obviously, Razor left and made way more money in WCW and got a huge push, but definitely should have been world champion. To me, it's crazy. It's almost criminal that he wasn't.
I think, like, obviously him beating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10 in that ladder match, after that, what happened with Shawn Michaels? He then went on to become world champion. So that was like the end of the feud for him, and he was going from that mid card, up into that main event level next. Yep. And that was short. Like, I think Shawn Michaels, I don't want to say stepping stone, but that was his way up to that, to elevate him to that main event level. But one thing, like you were talking about, like, we talked about, Scott Hall's demons as far as drinking and alcohol abuse and stuff like that. And he had having these demons, but in his generation, everyone was drinking, everyone was taking gimmicks.
Yep.
What was so different with Scott Hall? Like, what was it?
Hard to say, I guess. Maybe he just took it too far.
Was he doing more of it? Like, was he? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. You never know, because it seemed like, for whatever reason, maybe because his dad was an alcoholic, maybe, I don't know. Some people say it's not genetic. I know Angel maybe say that. Some people says it definitely is genetic. I don't know, because you never really know in life and genetics. I mean, it's really hard to say, but everyone always kind of pointed to the fact that his father was an alcoholic and it was kind of in his blood, and he had an addiction problem, all this other stuff. So I don't know if it equals and equates, but it seems like maybe if it's in your system and it's genetic, you probably need to stay away from it cold turkey. And even if you do a little bit, or if you do as much as everybody else, it might be more detrimental to you because of your genetics.
I have to disagree there, because I don't think that that's always the case. I think sometimes it can be.
Right.
But I know people for fact, like, my grandfather was an alcoholic on my mother's side. My mother is not an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
I am not an alcoholic. My sister is not an alcoholic. My cousins and my uncles and aunties are not alcoholics. You know what I mean? And then even on my father's side, same sort of thing with uncles and stuff like that on that side. There's been people that have that and not have that. I know other people that have family members that were family members that were alcoholics, like fathers and grandfathers, etc., and that wasn't passed down onto them. So I think that in some cases it can be, but I don't think it's always the case.
Well, and that's what I said originally, that, I mean, my dad was an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. Jake Roberts, Grizzly Smith was basically a pedophile, but Jake is not a pedophile. It just depends on the person, man. I mean, I don't ever think that's hereditary. I just think that's an excuse. Again, that's just my opinion. Everybody does have their opinion in regards to that. I just think if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. You don't have to follow that trend.
But it's interesting, because my grandmother was an alcoholic, but my mother obviously wasn't. But my uncle was, her brother was, but he was also in Vietnam. He had PTSD and all sorts of stuff. So you never know what happens in somebody's life. And I feel like Scott Hall, with that incident, the murder, that's definitely, I know we talked about it last week too. It's like, that's definitely PTSD, and he needs something to kind of, and obviously I think he admitted he wasn't really doing therapy or talking to anybody about it. So he needed something to kind of wash that away in his head as it kept coming up. And I guess he felt guilty about it, and he definitely had some PTSD over that incident. But it's just a shame, because, man, if he didn't have demons, he didn't have trouble, I think he should have been WWF World Champion. There's no doubt about that. And then you think about WCW too. He could have been WCW World Champion. I mean, he was hotter than Nash, and Nash was World Champion a few times in WCW. So maybe equally as hot, but still, you know what I mean? Like, he could have been world champion.
Nash was also the booker for the
yeah, a little bit, yeah,
as well, bro.
Yeah,
so,
for sure, yeah.
But like, as far as him not being world champion, do you think that he was just looked at as being unreliable? And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to Scott at all, but like, it has been well documented, and we did just say about his history with, PTSD and being alcohol abuse, etc. So do you think that, like, his behavior backstage maybe was it ever seemed or reported to be erratic, maybe, where they thought, man, we just putting him in that spot is just too dangerous.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking about people in the locker room. I mean, there was a lot of people on gimmicks. What made him any different compared to everybody else? I know Shawn Michaels had the power. There was some people but there was a lot of people that were just on gimmicks. So what made him the target? I don't want to say he was a target, but you know what I mean. Like what made him stand out? Like he was not reliable, because there's a lot of motherfuckers like it was not reliable that didn't show up for work.
Well, that plus he was a heel, and Shawn Michaels was a heel, and then like Kevin Nash had the title, and then you know what I mean. So like it was just like I think it could have just been a timing thing both times.
Okay.
Weird. I don't know. To me, it's one of those things where it's like, who's like the guys that should have been champion that weren't champion? His name immediately comes up first, and then probably like Roddy Piper, which is just weird. Like those two guys should have been world champion. I know Piper was tough during that era because Hogan was champ for 4 straight years, 4+ years. So it's like maybe Hogan's not losing the title, and they made so much money. You kind of almost say Piper shouldn't have won because they made so much money with Hogan. But maybe WCW Piper should have won too. But I know Piper and Hall always come up with like the two guys that should have won the world title, didn't win the world title. Like they always pop up first to me.
Yeah, but I wonder if Piper I never heard Piper being like, had any issues in regards to drug addiction or any alcoholism. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I just never heard anything like that. So why, of course, why did he didn't get the run?
Piper did. He had he suffered from alcohol abuse as well. Like
but it didn't come out. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been in the business.
Yeah, it is weird. I know. Yeah, I know what you mean, because it is weird because they always say, "Oh, Hall had his demons." That's why no one ever goes, "Oh, Piper had his demons." That's why he wasn't world champion. You know what I mean? I know what you mean. That is true. That for some reason that always held over Hall more so than others. I don't know why. Kind of unfairly.
And the funny thing, and I'm sorry, I was going to say
as well, right? I was just saying you put Kurt Hennig in that same sort of spot too.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that when I was hanging out
AWA
with Piper,
world champ though. I count that. Some people don't, but I do.
But when I was hanging out with Piper and Johnny one time at the Marriott, never saw the motherfucker drink. I don't know if it was after the fact, but I'm just saying those are the things that just do, like I don't
what
remember
were you doing with Piper and Johnny at the Marriott. What the hell was going on?
Oh, they were hanging out at the WWE gimmick or something. I can't remember.
Oh,
I think it was the
Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame, if I remember.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Was that when Johnny was doing that? What was the gimmick? And Piper was his manager.
No, that was in California when he did the Java Root gimmick with Chavo Guerrero and all them. I forgot that company. I mean, John probably knows the company in California. But,
NWA Hollywood
with remember.
Judo, Gene LaBelle, and Mike LaBelle. NWA Hollywood, I think it was.
I don't know. I can't recall. But yeah, no, it wasn't that. They were just hanging out. But but anyway, yeah, I just always wonder why Scott Hall never got the opportunity. I mean, like I said, he wasn't doing anything that nobody else was doing. Everybody else was doing gimmicks. Everybody else was drunk. So I wondered why he never got the title.
That is true, because you think about it, like, was he that much worse than Michaels or whoever else? Because if you could be IC champ, you can't be world champ. I mean, especially then, they kind of the prestige of the IC title was way more than it is now, like 10 times more than it is now. So it's like he's good enough 4 times to be the IC champ, but not good enough to be the world champ. And he basically is like your test guy. Like supposedly they used him as like, hey, tell me if this guy's ready. So they have Shane Douglas wrestle him. Obviously, the history is there. They hate each other. Shane and Scott Hall hated each other. So, like, when he's working with him, I think the matches are pretty good. Hall apparently goes back to the back and tells Tony Gurria, he stinks. That and then, boom, that kills Shane Douglas down the water. He works with somebody else. He's like, I like Sean Waltman. And they give Sean Waltman a little push. So Hall was supposedly like the gatekeeper guy that they trusted so much to tell them who was good and who wasn't. And they would use Hall as like a certain level. If the guy was ready for the main event, you'd feud with Hall and then you'd move on forward. So like they kept him in an important position and they trusted him. So it's weird you couldn't trust him a little bit further and give him the world title and give him a run, because everyone would have bought it. I mean, he was over like Rover. He was so over. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, he was always over, man. Especially after the 1, 2, 3 Kid thing, it kind of like elevated his career when he became like a face. The transition from heel to face and becoming even bigger than what he was. So yeah, man. I mean, I just really don't understand in regards of. I mean, he was over, man. He was just big time over. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. What do you think, Pierce? Well, open your eyes.
Wow, that's open.
Too much vaping.
Yeah, man. I think honestly that Scott Hall, not being a world champion, I don't think he really gave a shit. I think I actually seen an interview that he did where he's like, man, I never gave a fuck about winning belts and being champion. Like he goes to me, it was just an extra thing to carry in my bag that was more like it just made my bag 20 pounds heavier or whatever.
Yeah, he would
Again,
kind of say like guys were marks for the title. He was marks for making money, like a mark for making money.
yeah, yeah. And like I think in WCW that probably would have been more his time to have that run as the champion, because it's like, he's had people that like had the booker's ear or been the booker that could have made that shit happen for him, but it didn't happen. So could it have been his decision going, you know what, man, I'm happy being like this mid card level. I don't really want to be that top guy. I'm earning good money here at the mid card. The main event thing, man, that's a lot of extra work. And yeah, no, I'm good. Could that have been the case?
Maybe he just didn't want it, which is weird because you make more money, if you're the champion. So and obviously he was all about the money. But to me, I think he would have liked it because you would have got a bump in pay or whatever. So he probably would have liked it. For some reason, they always say Bischoff says it, Sullivan says, "Oh, his demons." Like I don't know if we could have trusted him as champion. It's like, but you trusted him so high up on the card, and he was U.S. champ, IC champ, tag champ, main events all over the place. But you couldn't just trust him a little bit further. It just seems like maybe something a little bit more like political, where he just maybe, like you said, maybe he just wasn't political enough to like Nash to say, "I want to be the world champ." Maybe he just didn't push it as far. Obviously, when Hogan's around in WCW, you're not going to be champ until his run is over. But still, he had plenty of opportunity. He feuded with Sting. He lost at Uncensored for the title.
Yeah.
Crowd was, I mean, Sting was over. I forget he was a top babyface, but the crowd almost kind of wanted Hall to win the title. I mean, I know I kind of did. So it's like
I
the
remember
opportunity
watching
was
that. I
there.
was the same, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
opportunity was there.
so just curiosity, do you think Kevin Nash was his gatekeeper and protected him and was able to, that's why he was able to get where he needed to go in his career, regardless of his addictions and stuff like that, that kind of having Kevin Nash in his corner was a plus to,
No, I think he is like I wouldn't say he's older than Nash by a year, so it's not like they're so much far apart. But he was kind of the veteran. He was the one that kind of brought Nash along. He was the one that taught Nash. Like if you listen to Nash, who's one of the smartest guys ever. He says Hall's the smartest. So Hall was teaching him a lot of stuff because Hall was around wrestling way before Nash. He
yeah.
had several years on Nash at wrestling. I think it's like it's funny they're 1 year apart, but I think it's 6 years in actual ring time, something like that. Like Hall started in '84. I think Nash started in either like early '90s or something. So there's time there, but I think Hall was the one that helped Nash, and then together I think they were like a political force where they would team up and stuff. But I never thought like Nash was helping him along or like pushing him along and making sure that he was following in his footsteps or anything like that.
No,
Like
but
Hall was always the leader of the group, I think.
no, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at it from a perspective, like, he's your buddy, man. He got your back.
Right,
So
right.
anytime it's like, yo, man, what do you think, man? He's the shits, and you're like, no, man, he's good. I got him. Trust me. My word is gold. All right, man, we're gonna take your word, man. If you could,
I
like
can
that,
see
like,
that. I can see
like
that.
taking care of him so he
Yep.
can get where he needed to go.
Yeah, especially in WCW when he was supposedly drinking and then he might have been drunk or whatever. Like they're saying backstage, and Nash was saying he's going to sober him up or he'll be fine, or you know what I mean. Like he was definitely his like his brother, basically helping him along.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. I mean, that's why I was calling him the gatekeeper.
I didn't like though. I don't know if you remember this, Angel, but in WCW when they did the Hall was drunk angle, they actually on TV had him as a drunk and had him drinking.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know. I just thought that was a little not so classy, if you will. Yeah, tasteless, classless, whatever you want to say. It wasn't good.
But you know what? Sometimes WCW was kind of mirroring off WWE because WWE will use your fucking pain and suffering just to put to work an angle.
Remember when JR needed surgery and Vince had that operating table and he was like pulling stuff out of JR's ass, like,
well, yeah, I remember. And,
yeah,
and
that was so
also
bad.
Hawk, Hawk,
Exactly. Yep. Almost same storyline they did with Hall. And then I know they did the thing where Hall was pretending to be drunk and then he wasn't drunk and then he beat up Nash, but they had him feuding with Nash. I didn't like that at all. I hated that feud. It was just so stupid. I didn't like how they, he's tripping, he's drinking, and they put him in the insane asylum. I don't know. That's not the way you want to perceive Scott Hall. I thought that was a little tasteless.
But I wonder how you were able to convince somebody to do it, like the Jeff Hardys and stuff like that. Like, how do
Right.
you sit there across the table and go, "Hey, man, I know you're going through a hard time, but I got this idea." I know your kids
Yeah,
are being
remember Jeff
abused, but
Hardy got a DUI? This was not even
yeah,
that long ago. He got a DUI, and they said it on TV, and they had him
with,
crashing into Sheamus's car. Yeah.
yeah. Remember when they had to do the urine test in the
Yeah.
ring, and then he threw it in his face? I mean, like
Yep.
stuff like that. It's just that's just something that stands out. How was they able to? I mean, giving him more money, or he was easily convinced because he was under the influence. Yeah, fuck it. Like how do you present something like that? You know,
If you're
that's what
getting
I said.
paid big bucks, man, fuck you, do whatever, bro. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
man,
if
just like, you know what, fuck it, man. I'm getting paid X amount of money.
yeah, but if Kevin is his gatekeeper, basically, I would have figured he would have been like, nah, man, don't fucking what's the word? Use his suffering as a piece of entertainment.
So Nash always says this too, and I always thought this. And Sullivan, who was booking at the time, even agreed. He said it was more Bischoff's call, but he thought it was like a little bit of a punishment because Hall and Nash were causing so much problems backstage, quote unquote, so much problems backstage politically and stuff, and maybe stirring the pot a bit. They fire Waltman. He had the injured neck. He wasn't working. So they fired Waltman. You're like, what the fuck? Supposedly, Waltman and his agent were saying they wanted more money. Bischoff supposedly at the last minute was like, wait a second, you're injured. You can't wrestle. Screw you. And that was a huge killer. WWE should have kept him around no matter what. Him going to DX elevated WWF and elevated DX. We talked about that off air, but that's a different story for another day. But then they split up Hall and Nash. It seemed like that was on purpose. Like, why would you split up Hall and Nash? Those are the Golden Goose, and you fired Waltman. So it seems like something was going on backstage politically where they wanted to split those two up to make those two pissed. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you guys had your fun. It's 1998 now. We had a nice 2-year run with the NWO. You guys are getting a little too big for your britches. We're going to fire your best friend. We're going to get rid of the real Wolfpack. Those three are the real Wolfpack, and we're going to have Hall and Nash feud, and we're going to split them up. That seemed like a bit of a punishment to me, just for nothing really to me. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I wasn't grabbing the angle when they split up and stuff. It was not really, and it was funny. I just bumped into that a couple of days ago on YouTube. That little segment.
Yeah, and the suggestion from Hall and Nash was, okay, keep Waltman, and obviously they just let him go. And Bischoff was saying, maybe justifiably so, was saying that Barry Bloom was trying to squeeze some more money at him. He's like, well, fuck you, your guy's hurt. I don't need him anyway. And it was like, we're kicking their ass, so he just gets rid of him. A huge mistake in the long run. He admits it's a huge mistake in the long run. But Hall and Nash said, why don't we feud with Hogan and Savage? If you want to split us up, we're the real Wolfpack. Hall, Nash, and Waltman are the real Wolfpack. Okay. You guys want to make it Wolfpack? It'll just be Hall and Nash versus Hogan and Savage, the old guard versus the new guard, and that's the way you'll do it. Nope, they split it up: Savage and Nash, Hall and Hogan, and then obviously made a huge mistake, and nobody cared for that storyline. But it was funny, like they just did the exact opposite of what those two wanted to do. So it seemed like a bit of a punishment.
Pierce?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably just by all sounds of things, John, it's basically it was a play to say to them just to put them in their fucking place, to say, hey, you might have had Vince's ear, in WWF. This ain't WWF. You don't have Vince McMahon's fucking ear here. We fucking run shit here. You're not going to tell us what to do. We're going to tell you what to do.
Plus, Hall is like perceived as the cool one. Hogan maybe wanted to keep that juice with him. Like, I want to be with the cool guy. You know what I mean? Like Savage is the old guy. You take Savage. Even though Savage is a god, but it's like I'll take Hall. We'll keep NWO Hollywood cool.
Yeah, 100%. But like, I think, with Scott Hall, after everything that he's gone through, in WCW, because remember the time, like he got suspended for a while and Nash did like this shoot promo in the middle of the ring. And it was like, you got to bring back Scott Hall and, blah, blah, blah. Or release him from his contract or something, because they basically had him under contract and he couldn't basically, I don't know if he was suspended without pay or whatever the clause was on the contract.
No, he said Hall has said suspended with pay.
Oh, right.
But he was gone for a while. But it's interesting though, because when Russo was there and Russo's booking, excuse me, got a little frog there. That like Russo and Hall and Russo Smith, they for some reason just never got along, just never saw eye to eye and stuff. But Russo would constantly tease that Hall was coming back. It was weird, but Hall was suspended. He wasn't coming back. They had the San Francisco 49ers match. They broke the box open. Booker T and Jeff Jarrett open up one of the cases, if you remember on Nitro, they had the 4 boxes that had weapons in it, and one of them had the title in it. Really stupid match. We were oddly booked.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It was kind of just overkill. I know what the thought was. It was going to be something different, something cool, but it wasn't. When you broke open one of the boxes, it was a picture of Scott Hall. And he was suspended at the time, so I'm sure
I
Hall
remember
looked at
that. Yeah.
like what the like what? So that was like a huge tease of Hall's coming back. Then they had a match where Nash was fighting for Hall's contract against Goldberg. Goldberg beats Nash and rips up his contract in the middle of the ring. So they keep teasing Hall, and Hall's really suspended and not coming back, and then eventually gets fired right there after that. Never comes back ever again. His last match was, I think, Super Bowl 2000, I think, against Jeff Jarrett and Sid for a title. It was a triple threat match, and Hall, of course, took the pin. That was his last match, and he's gone. So after that, Russo keeps teasing he's coming back, and he's not coming back. So, of course, Hall's going to be pissed. And, of course, Nash is cutting shoot promos because that's his best friend. You know what I mean? That's like when Samoa Joe cut that promo when Hall didn't show up for TNA, and when they got backstage, you could tell Nash in the ring was like this, like he was pissed that Joe said something, even though Joe's his boy. He bitch slapped him. Joe got back up, he bitch slapped him again. He goes, "Let's go. You don't talk about my brother like that." So, and Joe didn't go back. Not to say Joe's not tough. Joe just respected Nash. He knows he did something wrong. He's not going to go and fight him. Although Nash may have won the fight anyway. Who knows? But he bitch slapped him twice, and Joe just said, "Fuck it, I'm not fighting Nash." But all because he talked about his brother. So I think Nash really does cut shoot promos about Hall. Like, the fuck you guys. Like, I'm talking about my boy.
But the thing is that I don't think the reason why Joe didn't take it to the next level is because it's respect, but like
he crossed the line too. He shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, but even if he did or whatever, regardless, if he got slapped, I don't think he wanted to lose his career because I think Kevin Nash had a lot of power. So him fighting, because you've seen some of the boys get into some fisticuffs and they never got, one guy didn't get suspended or never got used again. But I don't think mentally I'm not saying Samoa Joe wasn't a top guy, but I don't think he was like, I don't have that power. Right. To like if I fight the beast, then I'm gonna come out unscathed, or my career would have still been, saved, intact. So I just think maybe that's a part of it that he pulled away a little bit.
Yeah. But also we don't know who was there and also who pulled it apart before it could escalate as well. Like, because that's another thing, Joe's a professional, man. Like, he could have just turned around and gone, you know what, like gotten the first slap, got a bit angry, the second slap, oh fuck, you know what?
Well, I mean, that doesn't have nothing to do with professionalism, man. I mean, just because he's a professional, I mean, if Kevin Nash stepped across that line, regardless of what he said, everybody has a right to their opinion, and I mean, getting slapped in the face is, that takes everything off the table. You have a right to defend yourself if somebody throw the first blow. And plus, Kevin Nash had bad knees at the time. So, I mean, I don't think that he would have been that much of a threat, because of his bad his wheels, To
me, though, and Nash even says Joe's tough. He respects him, and obviously Joe loves Nash and he respects him. He never says anything bad about him. But it's one of those things like Joe kind of took it too far because it was unscripted. You could tell Nash's reaction. Even Eric Young, he's out there. It's like, what the hell? What direction are we going? Because it was supposed to be Hall, Nash, and Joe, and it ends up being Eric Young replacing him. You could tell he kind of went off the hip and just did a shoot promo, and Nash took offense to it. Like, dude, my boy is in trouble. And Nash knows his history. He had some demons and he had some trouble. Like, don't disrespect my brother like that. I mean, they're closer than brothers. You know what I mean? They're bonded forever, Hall and Nash. So it's like, don't disrespect my boy like that. And I think Joe kind of maybe realized like, probably crossed the line a little bit there.
But why was Hall originally suspended in WCW?
Oh, his demons. I think he missed shows. If you remember correctly, when he was in Germany, remember I think the whole story was he missed a flight. He says that what happened was he had some rats over there. He had some hot German women, and he's dating Brad Siegel's niece, Emily Sherman, at the time. And Brad Siegel is top executive for TNT. So funny.
There's your reason why he was never champion, John.
Well, let me get into this. So this was kind of later in his run, but when he starts dating Emily Sherman, that seems like maybe a little bit of a political power play. And that's kind of when Bischoff was kind of getting mad at him a little bit more too. Like, oh, this guy trying to make a political play, like Brad Siegel, shit, TNT executive, the guy who created Nitro and all this other shit. Like, wow, he's dating his niece. Is this guy making a bigger power play, whatever? So she catches him cheating in Germany because she was an executive for WCW too. She worked behind the stage. I think she was some sort of assistant, but she was in the executive role somewhere along the line. but she's over there with him and catches him cheating, and then he doesn't catch the flight. He's drunk, and like they won't let him board the flight because he's drunk, and it was a whole fiasco. And Bischoff was kind of saying it's like a little bit of an international incident. The guy's not allowed to board the plane. He's going to miss the show the next day. Emily Sherman is saying he's cheating on me. He's a piece of shit. He's a drunk bastard. Like all this stuff. I mean, just kind of blew up all at once in Hall's face. The drinking, the cheating, and Hall obviously didn't think it was as serious as she did because he's got some rat lined up in Germany. I know Angel probably knows that all too well. Different towns, you got different girls, you know who to call. But it's awesome that Hall goes to a different country.
First of all,
he's got girls lined up. It's pretty
amazing.
First
of all, to correct you, those individuals that you're called rats, they were sponsors. They took care of your needs in local areas. So they were sponsors. They donated stuff. I'm just saying.
Right.
Just correcting you.
But that is interesting. That is like an interesting little twist. It's like, okay, not only does he date Brad Siegel's niece, he then kind of ruins that relationship with her. He doesn't think it's as serious. She's in love with him. I mean, he looks like a Greek god. He's smooth as silk. He's a great talk, like all those stuff. So I could see why she liked him so much. But it's like, okay, he probably didn't take it as seriously as she did. She's kind of like loves the guy or whatever, and she catches him cheating, and obviously that doesn't look good. Bischoff's pissed on one end because he's dating Siegel's niece. Siegel's pissed because he's dating a wrestler dating his niece. Yeah. She's pissed because he's cheating. He's drinking, missing flights. I mean, it's like a whole ball of wax there. That's all screwed up.
Yeah, but don't you think dating the niece was the caveat of everything for his downfall? Because if he shit on her, then he's like, they expecting him, the philosophy where they're like, man, I don't want a wrestler dating my niece or daughter and stuff like that. I know how they are.
So normally, I think, though, if you miss the flight and you're drunk or whatever, they probably wash it away, to be honest, if you're Scott Hall and somebody had his power. But when Emily Sherman and Brad Siegel get involved, you're fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting fired. You might be getting – or you get suspended. You may be getting fired.
But he also ended up in WCW after that, around 99 to
ECW.
Yeah. So what did I say?
You said WCW.
Oh, sorry. He went to ECW.
So in 2000, which is that great when, which is so awesome at the time because you're like shocked. They have it on, I think it's our video, Angel's Boy. They have the fan cam. All you hear is Fuji's Ready or Not. People are like, who the hell is this? Ready or Not? Like, who the hell's coming to this? And he made that song like cool and awesome that he's coming out there because it's like, what the hell? Yeah, and he slowly does the walk out, which is awesome. And it's crazy. He wanted to job, and I was talking to Big Sal about this. He wanted to job to Big Sal because he's beating Credible later on in the night. So he opens the show. The crowd goes wild and goes nuts. And it's funny. The ECW fans, you would think, wouldn't like Hall and Sid and like those kind of guys. They got the biggest pops. They love those guys. Like they were just over no matter what. Hall gets a huge pop. He loses to Big Sal, comes back for the main event, and he beats Credible. So pretty awesome to do that in I think it was November of 2000. Pretty amazing. And all because Credible brought him in.
Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I remember that day. It was a big pop. I mean, he was a nice guy. I mean, personable, just, very friendly, open. He was really, him and DeVito were just talking and just incredible. PJ, they were all in the corner talking and stuff like that. So the clique was kind of getting back together, So, but like I said, I mean, I thought he was going to stay in ECW. I'm going to say WCW, but I don't know why it never went to the next level after that.
I wonder if he could. I wonder if Paul maybe couldn't afford him because
he couldn't afford
$1 million in WCW or more. You know what I mean? You could probably pay him 1 off, 2 off, or whatever, but you probably can't pay him, all that money.
Order money, he couldn't pay that money. But I mean, that's a possibility, and which is probably true because again, I mean. The funds at the time were depleting. He was taking one, paying for the other. Pay-per-view buys and paying for something else, kind of flip-flopping the money around. But I agree. It probably couldn't afford him.
Period. I think that great coup though, like to get Hall for Heyman, like that's just amazing. I know PJ set it up, but that's just amazing. It's like holy shit, Scott Hall. So I remember the infancy of the internet. It was all over the internet and I was like closely paying attention. I was like, oh shit, they have a show in Poughkeepsie. Why is it such a big who cares? It's just an ECW house show or whatever. It's just a show. And like, wow, okay, fucking Hall debut. Like that was a big deal.
What I reckon they should have done with Hall, I reckon they should have like to make it an even bigger deal is like, cause he was only there for like maybe a handful of shows, 2-3 shows.
I think it was just 2.
I think it was just 2. As far as it might only been 1.
I reckon
1 and 2 matches. Yeah.
I reckon, they would have had him come in, win the belt, drop the belt the next show, and it, I mean, like makes it a bigger deal. And plus, then it's like, he's then ECW then has the thing is like at that stage, like he hadn't been a world champion anywhere. Would have been a perfect way for him to sort of, go out of ECW.
I always said that, and my buddy always says it too. It's like whenever somebody that's a huge name is in your company, I know you want your guy to beat him so your league looks better. I know that's the thought, but I always said, like, wouldn't you want to have a whole, actually, you're right, 2 shows in ECW. I just checked 3 matches, 2 shows. So interesting. Yeah, of course, all in New York, Schenectady and Poughkeepsie.
Mhm.
But to me, I always like, you want to have that guy be the champion, because on your reel, like ECW used to have November Rain, the reel, they'd have all the champions. Like when you throw Terry Funk in there, you're like, oh, and Bam Bam Bigelow, like, holy shit, these guys are ECW champions. Throw Hall in there, just, I don't know, just makes your company look more bigger and grandiose. Like back in the day, just say AJ Styles. Imagine if he was Ring of Honor champion. You show the reel of Ring of Honor champions, Danielson, Joe, Punk, like, oh, AJ Styles. Like, I feel like just have the big name, even if it's only going to be a little bit, and your guy beats him back. How awesome would have been if Hall wins the title? He's a part of your montage, part of your history forever. Because you're going to remember he's there, but if he's the champion, that would, I don't know, like you said, I think it would have been awesome. Would have been cool, even if for one night.
History.
Yeah,
exactly. A lot of promotions do that sometimes. They put guys that are big, like with decent names, over as their champion just for that one show. Yep. And even if have them drop the title the same show or whatever, because then they can say in the history books they've gone, oh, I've had Angel Medina as my heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Well, just curiosity now. I mean, in regards to Scott Hall's finances, man, and how much did he eat through his money? Did he, like Jake Roberts ate through his money and certain wrestlers ate through his money? I never really noticed any issues in regards to his finances. Was he still well off after the fact going through all this trouble, or was he kind of like just borderline, had money but kind of broke because of not money management? I mean, have you heard anything in regards about that, John?
I have not really, and I worked with him a bunch of times, and I knew his fee, his autograph fee, and he would work a few times a weekend. So to me, I don't think he was very hard up for money at all, because he's not cheap, put it that way. I mean, and it's worth it, because him and Nash, you book them in a signing, they have the longest lines, no matter what. I've been to signings before with like other huge names, and for some reason, whether they're getting Rage Ramon and Diesel signed, whether they're getting Hall and Nash signed, whether they want them together, whether they want them apart, I mean, they were always had the longest lines, with the most popular guys, and they're not crazy expensive, but they're nowhere near cheap either. I mean, they're getting a nice sweet spot bread and butter. So to me, he's making that much money. He's probably working twice a weekend, doing signings and doing whatever. He could be doing privates. I think he was pretty okay to me. I know he had a place off of in Smyrna, which is a nice place in
Lavaca.
Lavaca, what?
Smirnoff?
No, Smyrna, Georgia. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but
okay.
a place by Atlanta. I know he had his own Smyrna. There you go, Smyrna, Georgia. I know, like, he was pretty well off. I don't know if he was, as rich as he once was, or living in a mansion or anything, but I think he was okay. I know obviously he had to pay probably still some money to his wife because he's divorced, but I think he was fine financially, and just by the fact of him getting paid so much for these signings, I would imagine he was pretty okay.
No, I was just curious. Like I said, a lot of guys who had issues, blew through their money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just wondered how, just because he was having issues, maybe he was like, fuck, I don't fuck with my money. I always keep my money right, but yeah, I still have demons, So that was just curious.
Yeah,
curious.
that never came out. That was never a problem. Like we were saying with Jake, like that was always the thing with him. It's like, man, this guy's slumming it up, or he's not doing well financially. Hall, you never heard that with, even with all his demons, you never heard like, oh, he's not doing well financially or whatever. It's like, never heard a peep about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially like I said, like when you see like Jake Roberts in those documentaries and living in, not saying a hovel and stuff, but it was like, wow, that he's not really well. Or was it Bundy or One Man Gang? That was not, when his house got flooded and damaged everything. He did a GoFundMe because he was,
it was
One Man Gang. Yeah,
it was One Man Gang, and he was having issues. I was like, man, I thought he had money. So I always wondered, how fast they blew through that money. But that's all. I was just curious because of his problems.
It's funny people would say that about Bundy too, but I'd go to his house all the time. I was actually his manager before he passed, so I would go to his house all the time. So he had his house, and he had houses behind it that he owned, and all the people behind it paid rent to him. So I just want to get that out there. Bundy was fine.
Well, yeah, like did he have houses or did he have like a trailer park, like a trailer? Because that's a money
No,
maker.
little. It was it was like a big, like a extended house, but they're all apartments, and he owned the apartments behind the house. That's kind of
Yeah.
how he made his money. Yeah.
Oh
because,
yeah.
Because back, I think it was 88 or something. I think he said he bought it and he just lived
Mhm.
in the same place forever, just because it was easier for him. And since he owned the property, he would rent out the stuff in the back, and that's how he'd make his money financially. And he would do signings and stuff. And he even said, he's like, I'm wearing the same clothes I wore in the night. Like he just didn't care. You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of guys.
Ain't nothing wrong being frugal, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely not, man. But you know, like Scott Hall returned to WWE in 2002 with the NWO angle.
Yep.
And you know what? Like they even built it up as being like these guys being a cancer coming in, and like you know what I mean. Like they really didn't pay. Like I know that they're paying him as being heels coming in, but like the way that they did of being this like cancerous fucking thing that is just a destroyer of companies and stuff like that. Do you think that like presenting him like that, like, because in a lot of ways, like these guys, you know, did change the business for in a lot of ways as far as how guys get paid with guaranteed contracts, etc. But do you think when they came back to WWE, painting him in this light as like, you know, these toxic, cancerous fucking people, do you think that was more of like a way to sort of get back at him for leaving WWE and going to WCW? And plus, obviously, Hogan having his, you know, bad history with WWE. Like, do you think it was
No, because that was the original gimmick in WCW where they were the cancer coming in and trying to destroy from the inside out. So I think it was not part of Scott Hall's, life. I think it was just part of the angle where they was, coming into WCW to try to destroy him.
Pierre's just saying a little bit of a work shoot there, you know, where it's like it's an angle, but they're also saying these guys are cancerous. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like they're just like, yeah, these guys are a fucking, you know.
They did think though, like when they brought NWO in, they thought they were going to get booed out of the building. They were going to these big heels, so they kind of worked like, oh, we're going to bring him in, we're going to kill it, we're going to kill my own creation, we're going to kill the company. Remember when Vince had that great promo? He's going to bring in NWO to kill it. So it's funny that everybody, and it's always happened, every booker wants their own NWO because they saw how much money they made, and nobody could do it as good as the original. But obviously, WWE still makes $1.5 million a year on friggin' NWO merchandise, so obviously they're okay with using NWO forever. You know, it's still over and it's still great. You still see the shirts everywhere, which is nuts. But I think it was more of an angle where he's like, I'm going to bring him in as a cancer. And people thought backstage and everybody thought they were going to be heels. They're going to get booed. They're not going to be liked. And they were pretty over. And then they saw with Hogan was super over, and they had to turn him babyface pretty much immediately. But I thought that was a little bit of a work, a little bit of a shoot. Like, these guys are a cancer. They're going to kill my company.
You know, the funny thing about that is that when I saw him at WrestleMania, not the first time, the second time when they with the Sting, I think it was Sting and stuff like that when they came down the ramp.
WrestleMania 31.
And you could, and I was like, I felt bad because they looked like they were having difficulty walking down the ramp because of their fucking hip issues or whatever. And I was calling them the New World Older. So it's just like because I remember seeing Scott walking down and just like. I mean, it was not, I'm saying sad, but I'm like, man, he was having trouble walking. And then when he got into the scuffle, it didn't look like they were going, full tilt, it was half-assed thing. And I don't know. I just didn't like that part of when they
Hall
came
is
back.
great though. Like you think because they're boys with Triple H and obviously they think maybe they need to kiss ass. They don't. Hall and Nash and even Hogan, they all said like, why is Sting losing this match? It literally makes no sense. Like they ripped the booking, they ripped it apart. They said this is pure shit. That's why Hall is great because he doesn't care who you are, he doesn't care your friend. Like he's so brutally honest. It's hilarious. He goes, why did Sting lose? It makes no sense. He goes, yeah, Sting, you should have put some tanner on, or like he was joking around, messing with Sting, saying that he looked older, his hair was screwed. Like he was joking around, but he goes, why the hell did Sting lose? Made no sense. And he goes, and why is the NWO helping Sting? Sting was like our mortal enemy. We would never help him. They were trying to create WWF versus WCW, and Vince was trying to say, oh, we won the war. Triple H beat your guy from WCW. But Hall was right. It's like, why would the NWO, who's feuding with Sting, was their biggest enemy, why would they help him? And why would Sting lose to Triple H? Like, makes no sense. But you figured he would just kiss ass and be like, yeah.
But the funny thing about in regards about that I mean, when you have money, Kevin Nash money, fucking Rock money, would you just walk in like, fuck it?
Yeah, like why is this happening? Like,
yeah,
I'll do it, I guess. But yeah, like this is stupid.
Think about it. Like if you got heat, like if you said something like that to Triple H and you're loaded, like you're freaking loaded, and you go, wait, why is Sting losing? This doesn't make any fucking sense. Are you trying to boost your own fucking ego because you're trying to crush WCW? Like, how fucking dare you? Get the fuck out of here! All right, motherfucker, go get my limo. call my limo, like I'll fly off on my private jet. It's just, that's when you have power, when you can just chip your teeth and know that you're like, you know what, I don't really need this, so I can say what I want. And I was even questioning that, like when it was like, why they build up this massive angle with Sting, the Crow and all this stuff, and then he loses, to Triple H. I thought they were just going to do something more to build it for whatever loss,
Yeah, I think like even how they had those guys come out, like that was a bad decision to get involved in that. Like the after of that match, having like it just looked like a bunch of old dudes in the ring with like standing in the wind, out of breath, and like it didn't look good. It wasn't a good presentation, and it would just You know what I mean? Like it did nothing good for any of the guys.
But going back to 02, sorry to cut you off, and going back to 02, when they bring back the NWO, Hogan and Nash are on board. Hall was not on board at first. Hall wanted to get clean. He wanted to get sober. He wanted to stay home. He was taking care of his kids. So when you're home taking care of your kids, obviously, he had that. Remember, he was taking those pills that if you drink, you automatically throw up.
Yeah, so he told me about that.
Yeah, so he was taking that, so he wouldn't even want to drink. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where he's staying home and he's trying to be good and all this other stuff. But then McMahon calls him. He goes, "Hey, we're bringing the band back together. We're bringing the NWO back together. What do you think?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm trying to get clean and sober. I'm trying to take care of my kids. I'm trying to stay home and be a good dad." And he goes, "When you're done playing Mr. Mom, haha, pal." And Hall tells his story great, does the impersonation great. I mean, it's so funny. He's like, "When you're done playing Mr. Mom, pal, we're going to bring the band back together and be the NWO." So McMahon convinces him to come back. Like, he basically said, once you're in, this is like you're in for life. It's like the mafia. Once you're in, you're in. We need you on board. We're bringing back the NWO. Nash and Hogan agreed. So Hall's like, "I got to agree. Us three were the NWO. I'm going to bring it back." So it was like he attempted to come back, and then it was like the lore of the NWO, the lore of the business, the lore of making all that money, the lore of bringing the NWO back together brought him back. So he was clean for a bit, as quote unquote Mr. Mom at home.
So just curiosity, do you think now that Scott Hall's gone, just like the Monkeys, man, there's only one, and and he's not making any appearances. Do you think now that without Scott, they're not going to make any more appearances? It's like four wheels, man. Once you lose a wheel, you won't be able to drive. So do you think it's like over, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, it's tough to say, because I guess he's going to have to do a lot of appearances. I mean, obviously Nash is a huge name, but maybe it's like more of like a Diesel thing, or maybe it's just him and Waltman. That's true, because they're always a package. Like if you saw one, you saw the other.
You can still do appearances. You can still do NWO appearances at Comic-Con.
Oh, but it's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah,
it's like shows. It's like even Midnight Express. Like, I know Cornette doesn't want to do anything, but they're not doing anything without Bobby Eaton. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of lose the lore of the NWO when you don't have Hall, to be honest. Like, you could even not have Hogan at signings, because I've done signings before and it was Hall, Nash, and Bischoff, or Hall, Nash, Bischoff, and Waltman, and everybody loved it. It's NWO, and like you could even do it without Hogan to an extent. You can't do it without Hall. You just can't.
Yeah, I was just curious how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you can get everybody together and get a bunch of guys together, but it's not the same.
I mean, if you really wanted to, you can bring back the fake Razor and just bring him back.
No, he's dead too.
That's Clark.
Oh, he did die?
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago.
Oh,
he died. It was suicide, wasn't it?
I don't know actually what happened to Rick Bogner. That's a good question.
Did he like stand on his bed and?
Because it was very private from his family. Was very, very private about it. But he was a motivational speaker. I've interviewed him before. He was awesome. Like, he's a very positive guy. So it'd be kind of hard to believe. But his family was trying to keep it very private.
Do you think it was like the renegade shit? When you get the gimmick where it's like, man, this is just going to kill my career. Doing the renegade or doing the Razor. But again, I mean, that's hard to say, because look at Kane. I mean, it's just always
Rick Bogner, Rick Titan, unexpected heart attack at age 49, 2019.
Thanks for telling me that. And everybody's having heart attacks. Yeah. What was the reason? Gimmicks?
I don't know. It's an unexpected heart attack. You never know with those guys, because maybe years before, because he was pretty big dude. Like maybe years before, all the abuse and stuff catches up to you. You never know. That's
why I didn't do gimmicks, man. That's why, you see, those are the things that get me kind of nervous, and stuff. Especially like we were just talking about that yesterday on the show about people, heart attacks. It's just like, oh my God, freaks you out. And then you watch the Triple H thing. Oh shit, heart attack. It just freaks you out, man.
Yep.
Because everybody's in the same age.
last year, bro, me at 38. You know what I mean? Like same sort of shit, bro. Like I went through it, man. I thought I was fucking gonna be tapping out for life, bro.
No, I
like,
think you were just. I think it was more anxiety for you, man. You're still young and vibrant, and stuff. When you start seeing all your boys around you at the same age falling off like fucking dominoes, then you're like, oh shit, So.
Yeah. Oh man, look, you know what? I think to end it on a positive note, this has been a great two-parter on Scott Hall. I think we've been able to get a lot of great coverage on this. But there's a story that Angel actually has told me on air before about Scott Hall and Tony DeVito.
When he kissed DeVito in the mouth.
Yeah. Can you tell John that story? I think we'll tell that story and then we'll wrap the show up because I think that's a pretty cool.
I think we were at the Zuma Beach Club down in Florida. And fucking that's when Scott showed up because WCW was in the same town at that time. And then Scott just showed up. I don't know why. I don't know if he was suspended. I don't know, but I think they would like performing the next day or something like that. But he was in town and showed up to the ECW, and DeVito's there and he's gimmicked up. You could just tell he's just either drunk or whatever. And he just walks up to DeVito and he's just hey amigo, and just leans over and kisses him in the mouth. And DeVito pulls back and he goes, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "What? I can't kiss one of my boys in the mouth to show him that I love him." So I was like, "Okay, it was funny." So yeah, nice guy, man. Like I said, really, really nice guy, really laid back. I mean, you can't go wrong with that dude. I mean, like I said, even though the demons that he had, like only people see the one side of the story because they see what's on the internet, what they see on TV. But when you know him personally, like I said, there's a lot of guys that have demons that they were just a bunch of great guys. I love them. Boss Mahoney, Axel Ryan, Scott Hall. I mean, we were buddies, but I mean, when you see him, you're like, fuck, like you can't see those two things side by side, basically. I seen him drunk, but he was still nice as fuck, It was not like a tragic like the one when he came out and he was doing the in the ring. Yeah.
On ESPN, that was bad. Yeah, they had that.
Did the discus punch and it was like so slow. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah, they shouldn't have let him come out.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Why did they let him come out, man? Why? Just because they already paid him.
Most likely they're like, fuck it, just put him out there. What's the worst that could happen?
I would have took him out like Sabu, put him on the gurney. And just put him by the post and just let him manage. Yo, high spot. So stupid shit like that, But I mean, they did that with PJ, Remember that incident? Yeah, same thing, man. I mean, some promoters, you get your money, they get that money in advance. You're like, fuck, man, I gotta get my money's worth, man. People are expecting Scott Hall, so I don't give a fuck if he's, sober or not. He's going out. Promoters don't care. But anyway, enough of that. Me on the soapbox.
Yeah. But it's sad to see, like at the end of his life, Meltzer had reported he only weighed like 210 pounds. So he got real sick after the hip injury and he fell. And I know he obviously had the 3 heart attacks, but really, really sad end for Scott Hall.
Well, just curiosity.
290 in his prime is like 210 when he passed. Like, that's crazy.
So now, before we go and close it off, we didn't even talk about, like, I never didn't know what the funeral was. Was he buried? Was he cremated? I mean, John, you're probably more to the ground with the story. What was his what happened? Did the funeral happen?
As far as I know, I don't even think it happened yet. I haven't heard anything about a service, a memorial, nothing yet about it, which is interesting. I know some people, because of COVID and everything else, you get pushed back.
Yeah.
I know that.
But even in private, I figured, if TMZ covered the motherfucker, I figured they'd be like, oh yeah, he, we're at the funeral.
Right? Yeah, I haven't heard.
They did it for Bob Saget,
Yep.
So
it's weird. I haven't heard much about it, but it's interesting. It's like, wow. He fell, obviously. He had a broken hip. He went in to get it replaced. He had a blood clot. He had 3 heart attacks. He only weighed 210 pounds. Like, man, it's so sad to hear, like, the end of his life. Holy crap. Like, that big giant of a monster got,
But was the 210 pounds because of it before the injury? I'm just thinking, like, was he trying to get like in better shape, or I'm just trying to think.
No, Meltzer was saying he was getting real sick. He started to drink again, and he just really started to thin out. He just wasn't healthy and X-Pac had just came out and said it because of the pandemic. He said he didn't go out, didn't leave the house, nothing to do. Only thing you could do is sit there and drink and just not get well. He said the pandemic killed him because when he was doing bookings and signing stuff, it kept him busy and he wouldn't drink. And I mean, I booked him 4 times. Every time he'd tell me, he goes, man, he goes, I got stuff to do. He goes, I need to make the planes. I want to make the money. I want to be responsible. If I tell a fan, he's awesome with the fans. That's
John Paul's never booked me. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyway,
but with Hall,
you weren't the king of his streets, bro.
Well, sometimes we had a booking at a strip club. I didn't book him, but I was in charge of taking care of him. So I was with him the whole day. So we were at a signing during the day, and then at night, at midnight in friggin' West Virginia, we got a booking at a strip club. He wouldn't drink. He wouldn't do anything. He paid for everything. Dunkin' Donuts, sushi, what we got, he paid for. Gas, he paid for. What a nice guy. He said, he goes, I'm the co-pilot. I got to keep you awake because we're driving all day and all night because the appearance ends like 2:30 in the morning. We got to drive back to Philly, and I got to drive back. So he's like, I'm the co-pilot. He goes, I got to keep you awake. Great conversationalist, telling me great stories, all this stuff. But my point was, he kept sober when he had to do bookings because he knew I'm very important to the fans, and he wants to have each experience. It's funny because each fan that walks up, hey, yo, he says something different. Like he wanted to keep everybody remembering, like, hey, I had a great time. He's like, hey, these people paid to see me. I want to make sure that they remember this as a good experience. So he was awesome with the fans. When he's not doing the bookings and he's not doing the signings, he's home. Pandemic, COVID, there's nothing going on. What else is he going to do? I'm sure he's got a six pack or whatever. I'm sure he was sitting there drinking, and it probably just it's, which sucks and it's unfortunate. And X-Pac was saying, it's just like, it just was like he started to fall apart. It was nothing to do.
Because the last time we really saw him, he looked like, I don't want to say overweight, but he looked pretty heavy.
But it was kind of like a good heavy, like at peace heavy. Instead of like you said, the 210 pounds looked like his life was just, he looked healthy, and stuff. But anyway, man, I mean, again, we could talk about Scott Hall all day, every day. I mean, there's so much of his career.
Coolest motherfucker of all time.
Yeah. Before we go, I just wanted to say, man, I want to give a shout out to my condolences to Taylor Hawkins, one of the Foo Fighters that passed away yesterday at age 50. I know we talk about wrestling a lot and tragedies, but that was a massive tragedy. He was in Bogota, Colombia, where they found him, passed away in his hotel room, unknown what the cause. But again, I'm a Foo Fighter fan. I'm a Nirvana fan. I know I don't look it, but I love their music. So I just wanted to say, I feel bad for his family, my condolences, Pierce.
Absolutely, man. The Foo Fighters, they're, amazing band. Taylor Hawkins has been the drummer since the start and been a phenomenal, drummer and performer over the years, man. It's sad to see him go. And
I hope it's not gimmicks.
Man, thoughts and prayers go out to his family, man. But guys, this has been case number 102, Scott Hall Part 2. Hosted by the King of the Streets, the ECW original, the Kingpin, Angel motherfucking Medina, the two-man power trip, the third man in on the Wrestling with Tragedy, Mr. John Paz, and your dad bod god, your himself, the bald, the beard, the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. We wish you a very amazing week, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tune in for next week, case number 103. We're going to bring you something that is going to be must-see, as we always do. So, guys, wherever you're finding us, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that like, comment, leave us a 5-star review. It helps us, it helps you, and it makes us all that much better out there in the analytics of the wide world web. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, huge shout out to our sponsors, healthvape.com and sleeves.com. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Gentlemen, care to add anything else before we wrap it up?
Nah, man, I appreciate everybody on the WWT world. Thank you for supporting us. We love you. Thanks for giving us the love back. And I don't know, man, it's good, man. John got things to do. I got things to do. Pierce got to take a nap because look at those eyes, sleepy.
Yep.
And anyway, we'll see everybody next week. Definitely check out case number 103. It's going to be really exciting. So check it out.
Peace.
Peace.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.